Have you ever wondered why, that out of all the timelines that Doctor Strange saw in Infinity War, there was only allegedly one in which they beat Thanos? The truth is, it was a lie. Thanos could have been defeated in a far easier way, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't need time travel. All you needed was Doctor Strange. He could have beaten Thanos very, very easily, but he didn't. And the reason he didn't is a lie, because his motivations were far darker than we thought. Now, the real answer as to why he only saw one is because the plot. The plot needed it to be that way, because that's the only logical way Thanos and the Avengers could have the fight that they did. Oh, why didn't Thanos just do this, or why didn't they do that to Thanos? Oh, well, there was only one timeline which it could have worked out, and any other timeline Thanos would have won. This is bullshit. This is the highest level of cap, and Doctor Strange knew it. You're telling me that a dude who had the time stone couldn't have put Thanos into a time loop like he did Dormammu? Or, fuck it. Maybe Thanos would have survived the time loop and got out eventually and killed Doctor Strange, alright? Why not just literally slow Thanos down with time? You keep the Avengers in normal speed and have them take off the gauntlet while Thanos is slowed down. He can't move his freaking fingers at all. Oh, but he could have used the other stones, to stop them if time had been used to slow him down. Let's be very clear here. How does Thanos use the stones? What does he do to actually initiate the stone's power? He does this. He fists the air. Look at him. He does this every single time. Every time you see the sound of a stone, he's doing this. Why do you think Doctor Strange fought so hard to keep his hand like this with his cape? With that freaking whip thing that he used, with all these whips? Is because the only way he initiates the stones is if he closes his fists like that. It's not like the comic books. Mantis had him put to sleep. His muscular functions weren't working. So his fingers were like this, and they were pulling it off, right? This is the ultimate opportunity to literally just slow his body down to the point where he's stone. Everything he's doing and every reaction he makes is in slow motion while the Avengers have the ultimate time. Now, granted, but Star-Lord was going to attack Thanos and destroy the entire plan no matter what. Star-Lord physically is one of the weakest people in this scene. He doesn't have his ego powers here. He's just a dude with some guns. Doctor Strange could have easily put him to sleep, or fucking used his cape to whip him or do something, but he didn't. He purposely let it go, even though they could have easily won. Oh, but even if they pulled the gauntlet out, Thanos would have fought them somehow. But even if they had grabbed the gauntlet off of Thanos, he would have got out and attacked them. He would have been way easier to deal with without the gauntlet at that point. There's nothing he could have done. And then we have to talk about this. The whole magic gates that they use to cut limbs off. Why didn't he do that to Thanos' arm? Now, a lot of people have already answered this. Debunked this. One of the defenses I've seen, which is so silly, is Thanos' skin is too durable. Oh, but Thanos' skin is so impenetrable, Zaffy. He's such a durable being. This guy isn't a Kryptonian, alright? He's bled. He's bled in battle. Now, I'm not saying he's not durable at all. It does take a lot to make him bleed. Tony Stark threw the kitchen sink at him to make him bleed. But there's another scene that showcases his durability that most people miss. Do you guys remember when Thanos created a reality where he gets killed by Gamora, and Gamora stabs him, right? With the blade that he gave her when she was a child. Gamora, even though this was not real, right? This was just a reality simulation he created. Gamora thought she killed him. Gamora thought that using that blade and stabbing Thanos in the neck would kill him. Alright? Now, I don't know what that blade's made of. Vibranium, adamantium, I don't think it's made of any of those. I think it's just an alien weapon that's just really... It's thick and durable, like his sword is that he used in battle with in Endgame, so we know it's a powerful blade, but still. She thought that this would kill Thanos, and this was a blade that he crafted and gave to her, right? So we know that he used this blade in battle because he knew it would be a very powerful blade. And he knew she would buy this, right? Gamora has been in battle with Thanos for decades. She's his warrior princess. She knows what hurts him and what doesn't. She knew stabbing him in the throat would kill him, to the point where she cried tears. And even though it was a fake reality that he created for her, he knew that she would think that. Why? Because both of them know that would have actually killed him. Normally, if he didn't have the stones, if somebody had perfectly used that blade that he gave her, that alien metal, on his neck and stabbed him, he would have died. It's his own weapon. So you're telling me This dude is Kryptonian level skin and durability. A fucking magical seal that cuts you is weaker than that metal blade? You're telling me that blade, that switchblade that she used to stab him in the neck, that both Thanos and Gamora knew would kill him? Gamora thought it would, and Thanos knew that she would think it would, so he created that reality for her. You're telling me that blade is stronger than this? A dimensional gate closing on you. This isn't like a weapon. This isn't metal. This is a freaking portal of magical energy that's closing on you. You think hard skin is going to stop you from getting cut by that? What's just going to stop on your arm and it's not going to go anywhere? The fuck kind of stupidity are we doing here, man, to cover this up? This is bullshit. Now you could say, okay, well, Zephy, getting stabbed in the throat, that's an easier thing to penetrate than a freaking arm, you know? Which, okay, fine, whatever. Cutting an arm would be a bit harder than stabbing in the throat. I get it. So why, when Thanos was like this, why couldn't Doctor Strange, he opened a portal above his head to bring Mantis into the equation. Why not just open a portal over his fucking head and chop the neck off clean? You could do it. You should have gone for the head. Thanos himself knows that the head is a fucking weak spot. Everyone knows this. You could just slit the neck with your freaking portal, Doctor Strange. I can come up with 70 different creative ways you could have killed Thanos in this situation. A portal is stronger than a knife. I'm sorry. I don't care what the knife is made of. But you're telling me you couldn't cut Thanos' head off at least? But then the argument shifts to, oh, but he's made more durable because of the Power Stone, Zafy. Similar to how Ronan was. He was not using the Power Stone to augment his body. If he did, he wouldn't have bled. I know that Tony used a lot of missiles and a couple kicks and punches to make him bleed, but if he was using the Power Stone to shield his body, he could have tanked through everything. I think Thanos really actually loves the fight. I think he loves combat. I don't think he was using the Power Stone to augment his body. I think he has to select the stones at each time when he's in combat, and he just wasn't using that because he knew he was durable enough that he could take most of the shots anyways, right? And he even yells at Tony, "Come on!" when Tony's shooting all the missiles at him. He's yelling like he's bracing himself. If you're using the Power Stone to make yourself impenetrable, you wouldn't fight the same way he did in this fight. You would literally be walking through everything without a sweat. Nothing that Doctor Strange or Tony could throw at you would do anything. You wouldn't be bleeding from the cheek, Thanos. I'm sorry. He was not using the Power Stone to augment. People think he used the Power Stone to augment himself in the fight with the Hulk 2, which apparently has been confirmed by Marvel, even though no one believes that because that book is filled with crap writers. But I believe he could have beaten up the Hulk in that moment without the Power Stone. He's pretty strong enough without the Power Stone. He doesn't need it to shield his body. And even if he did, he wouldn't have bled from the cheek after Tony hit him. People don't understand this. Oh, but Zafy, if Doctor Strange tried to do any of that shit to his arm or his head, he could have just used the Reality Stone. Thanos could have used the Reality Stone to fake his death or change reality. In this fight, I agree with you. That's a good argument. But in this fight, Thanos uses the Reality Stone to turn a bunch of debris into birds and then turn birds into fire and shoot a fire beam at Tony. That's what he was using the Reality Stone. He wasn't using it for any intricate shit. He was literally just using it for that. Thanos was not using the Reality Stone to do shit to Doctor Strange, okay? The only answer to this is, but there was only one timeline. No matter what, even if Doctor Strange cut off Thanos' head, Zafy, and all of his limbs, there was only one timeline where it could have worked, and it wasn't that. Thanos somehow could have gotten back and regrew all of his limbs and fought the Avengers somehow. Somehow, he would have survived it all, Zafy. Even if Thor went for the head at the end of Infinity War instead of the chest, there was only one timeline. Do you know how fucking stupid this argument is now? The writers have coddywaddled all of your brains into thinking this makes sense. You're telling me that the ultimate timeline where Thanos lost is a tug-of-war match between him and Tony for a nano gauntlet? That's the only way it could have gone down? Not Thanos getting his head chopped off by a portal. Not Mantis putting him to sleep and then them knocking Quill out while they take the gauntlet from him, and then Doctor Strange using the Time Stone to literally put Thanos into a time loop and then send him to a different dimension. No, that was too hard. No. But this, a full-on war after time travel, where they had to time travel back, where Tony's the last man standing. And meanwhile, Doctor Strange is doing this to Tony. Like, there's only one. What? Doctor Strange is not even helping in this moment. Doctor Strange could help. In fact, there was concept art showing that they did more than that. But no. Doctor Strange was too busy with the water, Zaffy. The water. Doctor Strange is busy with the water. Remember, this is the same guy who can transmutate pieces of the mirror realm and turn them into butterflies. This guy's having a problem with water. Too busy to help Tony. This is bullshit. He didn't want... There are only two reasons why he would allow this to happen this way. This is not the only timeline where Thanos would have lost. That's bullshit! He didn't want to be the one dying to beat Thanos. So this was a selfish reason. He wanted that sweet ass of Rachel McAdams. He wanted to live on for her, Christine. Or the other motivation is something far more dark and nefarious. He knew Tony Stark needed to go. Tony needed to be... Remember, he saved Tony in Infinity War, Part 1, because he knew Tony needed to be one to die. But you're telling me this is the only way it could have happened? No. He knew Tony needed to go because he saw multiple timelines. He saw millions of timelines. And I'm guaranteeing you, Tony and Thanos going to war leads the world to ruin in most of them. Tony himself is a problem, y'all. He created Ultron. Then when Ultron went to shit, he just made the Avengers sign the Sokovia Accords, which led to the Civil War, which led to the Avengers being split, and directly led to Thanos having more of an advantage to take over Earth and take the gauntlet and whatever, right? This guy has an obsessive, impulsive need to like control things and defend things, to the point where it could ruin a lot of things. I bet Doctor Strange saw a future timeline where Tony fucks everything up, and this thing kept reoccurring throughout all timelines. And you know what? Maybe he saw Doctor Doom, who looks a lot like RDJ. He saw the future in which Doctor Doom was a villain, destroying multiple things in our timeline, and probably fucking was confused. I was like, bro, is Tony Stark become a villain now? What the fuck happened? Through all these timelines, he's seeing Tony fuck up everything in multiple times, and then he sees this, and he's like, okay, bro, Tony needs to go. Tony needs to die. I need to manipulate events so that there's one timeline where Tony dies to beat Thanos, and that's the only one. No. I truly think Doctor Strange saw Tony as like borderline a villain, who wasn't even aware that he himself would become a villain, and probably was like, fuck it, this guy needs to go. Let's make him die in a heroic act. I think that's what happened. I truly do. I truly think, y'all, that the only reason Doctor Strange said there's only one, and even when he said it too, bro, I knew he was capping. When they're like, how many do we win? He's like, one. Because he knows that's the only timeline that he's going to kill two birds with one stone, Thanos and Tony. I guarantee you Thanos could have been killed so easily on this planet Titan. But nah. Doctor Strange's like, but Tony needs to die. And he gets stabbed by Thanos on Titan. Tony did get stabbed near the kill, but that wouldn't... But Doctor Strange needed the perfect timeline where both of them die. And that was the only one. The Avengers could have won very easily in, I bet you, 1,000 other timelines. But he was like, no, Tony's got to die too. So we're going to have it be Endgame, where this convoluted story about time travel leading to a tug-of-war match with a freaking nano gauntlet that somehow transports the stones onto Tony's gauntlet and Thanos doesn't even realize it. That's going to be the way. Fucking stupid. They have psyoped fans into thinking this lazy ass but smart, this lazy ass whole thing where there was only one timeline. This is like the end all be all answer to any plot hole to do with why Thanos didn't get killed sooner than he did, or either Thanos gets killed very easily because the Avengers use their brains, or Thanos with one shot nukes them all, kills them. But there were certain reasons they couldn't happen. Now, Thanos, I understand. Thanos doesn't want to kill any more people than he has to because he's already wiping out half the universe. He wants things to be balanced. I respect that. He did try to kill Tony, which kind of throws that off. But still, regardless, maybe Tony was the only threat to him. I'm telling you, y'all, this whole one timeline was bullshit. Doctor Strange knew there was more timelines, but he's like, I got to kill Tony and Thanos off. So we're going to find the timeline where that happens. And we're just going to lie and say that's the timeline. That's what happened, y'all, and I think that's true, alright? If you want to know why Thor was way weaker in Endgame than he was in Infinity War, I made a whole theory video on that too. You can watch it over here now. Bye!
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zaffy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.